Alrighty. Alrighty, we're up. Hello, everybody. You have to let us know if you can hear us right away, because then we will have some troubleshooting to do if you can't. But we're just going to launch right in. I am Annie Poling Swet, and I run the Homegrown Filmmaker channel. And on this channel, I share things that I'm learning about filmmaking, what I'm thinking about, what I'm studying, in hopes that it's helpful to other young up-and-coming filmmakers and writers. But today's a special day because we are all hanging out together, the whole crew family from Abundant House. And it's going to be a fun time just hanging out and reminiscing about old times. Yeah, I think Jacob, I saw you in the chat. You said you feel so old. I feel so old. It's been 10 years since we really got started on this filmmaking journey. But we should probably do a round of introductions to anybody who doesn't know who all of us are. I'm Annie, as I said. I'm kind of the writer, director, creative lead of the team at Abundant House Films. This is
Micah. I'm kind of behind the scenes, just helping out where I need to, and then vehicle wrangling. I'm more on the mechanical side of things, so and then also camera department, help out a lot there.
And you done stunts.
And stunts too. Yeah. I enjoy that.
Who wants to go next?
I can go next. I'm Rachel Jordan. I'm Annie's sister, married to Max, and I'm the producer, executive producer at Abundant House Films. I've also done a fair bit of hair and makeup, and so for Weeping Willow specifically, you'll see me in the BTS like doing wounds and dirt and all that fun stuff. I haven't done it in a long time, so that's me.
Yep, I'm Max Jordan. On the team. I usually am the DP. Depending on the project, a little bit directing as well. A lot of stunt coordinating, fight choreography kind of stuff, and I'm along with Josiah, who we'll get to next. A bunch of post production, editing, VFX, color, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Max. I'm Josiah. I'm Annie and Rachel's younger brother, and I do a lot of like post-production. I typically edit our films along with Max, and we do a lot of the post-production together. And but I also enjoy being on set, hands-on with everyone, wherever I can help, if that's camera department or helping Rachel in the production department, being an assistant director or something like that. And then I would like to get my hands on directing, but Annie has that slot filled. So
hey, you just directed your own film.
Yeah, I've directed a few of my own short films, but for Weeping Willow, I was just the little brother that was helping out in every way he could.
So they can't hear us.
Oh no, cannot hear me? Am I too quiet? Or Max?
It should be coming out from the same output.
Troubleshooting.
Testing, testing.
Hello? Can you hear?
Oh.
Thanks, Jacob.
Got our back there. Thanks, Jacob.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much me. I'm an editor and VFX artist with Max, and help out wherever I can.
And I guess I'm the last one here. My name is Lizzie, and I'm the younger sister of Rachel, Annie, and Josiah. And I write the scripts with Annie, and then I'm also in production design and acting. I believe for Weeping Willow, I was in the camera department.
And then you dipped into acting as well.
I did some acting, and I did second AC, and I believe I did like the costumes, or
I was gonna say, who did costumes if you didn't do them?
well, yeah, I think it was like me and Rachel together, but I was the one who was kind of making sure everybody was wearing what they were supposed to be wearing on the day.
So that's us, and Weeping Willow is our Hunger Games fan film that we made 10 years ago. But it was kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, like a significant project for us. Like, we had other significant projects, but it's one of the first ones where we were all working together as a team, and we kind of realized, like, oh, like, we could do this for realsies and not just as a far off dream of someday it would be fun to make movies. So I didn't really know how we want to jump in. I guess, what are you guys' favorite memories of Weeping Willow?
Well, I would say one of the lasting memories is probably how cold it was. I mean, of the group, I'm the one that likes the cold the most, so it's not a bad memory for me. But I think definitely our cast had the worst time of it because of our costumes. But yeah, that's one of the things I remember just as a funny thing. But on the I think it's the cornucopia scene stands out. It's just like that was the first time, even on our other films we had done up until that point that we had worked on, that was our biggest like set and cast and coordinating a whole group of people, especially for a whole action scene. And I just remember the first time we ran it all through, it was just like, oh, this feels fun.
And I remember watching you do the VFX for that scene because it was such a VFX heavy scene with because the cornucopia wasn't there. That was all digital.
Yeah.
And so just watching Max figure out how to shoot all the elements of it and get tracking markers in the right place.
Yeah.
That was all stuff that he had never done before.
A lot of that stuff was on Philip, just the brother just between Rachel and Annie. He did a lot of the tracking on that one, I will say, and wasn't easy.
No. Yeah, super difficult. But watching it all come together and especially in the edit and even on the day, you could tell like this is gonna work. It's gonna look so cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had rescheduled because of the weather, and it gave us a few extra days to get enough people to come out for that scene and to have a whole day just shooting that scene, whereas we had been like really doing so many setups and shots per day on every other day. And so I agree with you, Max. That was a really fun day seeing the biggest scene come together and knowing that the short film was going to start off with Splash.
Yeah.
I remember that's the cornucopia being very like wow, are we really ready to do this? Like how big this is this day, like prepping for it for so long.
Yeah, because all the shoot days previous to that was like, oh, we'll have like 2 actors, maybe 3 actors. Hair and makeup takes all of like what, an hour maybe? You know, and it was just like, and we all come out, you know, everybody comes to our house and gets ready, and then we go out to location and all have fun. Whereas the cornucopia was like, oh my gosh, you know, we have to get it all planned. And I remember Rachel and I, we were basically the art department, and so it was like we had to make sure it was like, okay, we had a list of how many people and if they'd all gone through hair and makeup, if they'd gone through costume, and yeah, then getting everybody to location and parking and everybody knowing what they're doing. Like, yeah, it was like, that's when it felt like a real production, I think, when it went from being more in the backyard to,
Yeah.
oh, wow.
And the
That felt like that was the last day, but that's what it felt like production.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the other days felt like production because, well, that was the longest shoot that we had to date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or
Yep.
And the
actively.
right, you're right. And the funny thing is that like we're not 10 years from shooting this. We still got another month because I was just on my Facebook notifications. It told me that yesterday I think was the delay. Was the snow delay that we got. We were gonna shoot and then it snowed,
Right.
and so we had to delay production, and that ended up allowing us to add a second or another shoot day, which we desperately needed. we couldn't have done this in the amount of days
Oh, I
we
have the
originally
date.
planned.
On the video, it says we shot the cornucopia stuff on March 1st.
Right.
I still forget how young we were. Like,
I mean, it was 10 years ago.
it was, but like, when you think about, I was 14.
Yeah.
How old was everybody at that time then?
I turned 18 in the middle, so we did the beginning of February. We did a bunch of shoot days. Then we had to break because of the snow, and I turned 18. And then when we came back, I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I would have been 20.
Yep. Yeah, Jacob in chat just said, dreaded snow delay, horror flashbacks of the clip we filmed that day. It's still on my
no.
channel. If someone wanted to look back far enough, I think they could see it.
We took a snow day and made a goofball, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Jacob played our main villain, Ares, who's currently flopping on the ground right now
Yeah.
on screen.
Yeah. So how old were we then?
Oh, I was 22 then.
So I would have been 22 as well.
Yeah. Babies.
Yeah.
Anybody else's favorite memories besides cornucopia day? It's hard to like narrow down one. I have a lot of really good memories.
Yeah.
Shooting the conversation between Tristan and Willow, shooting
Mm-hmm.
Kate's death. I
Oh.
felt that so bad so Jewel dies in the movie, but it was so cold that day. The fake blood was freezing on her hands, and like it didn't even look quite right because it was
So sticky from
literally frozen.
I had the bottle of fake blood like packed inside, like as close to my skin as I could get it without getting myself sticky. Like the inside of my clothes were all sticky from trying to keep the fake blood warm so that it would ooze.
Oh dear.
And as soon as we got out of the bottle, it was like, okay, roll. Because it was freezing on her. So she had frozen, sticky all over her hands and shirt. And yeah, at some point we were just like, well, we gotta, we gotta be done now.
Yeah.
It was just too cold that day.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of added to the scene because she was shivering, and so she was like shaking while she was dying. But it was also like, we need to hurry up and shoot this scene because our actress is freezing. So. Sorry.
I think it's like the biggest thing. I think it's the first time we really experienced the like camp like going to summer camp with all your friends sort of atmosphere
okay.
that movies
Yeah.
are like. Production always feels like that, but that was the first time that we really experienced it, and we got to experience it with so many of our friends, so it was doubly fun. And I was constantly just really excited about the footage that we were getting.
Yeah.
Because it just looks so cool. And as it was coming together, you were just like, this is gonna be good. This feels so good. And that excitement is what permeates like all of my memories of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do have distinct memories about shooting the ending. Because we were filming and then there was the snow, so we had to delay, and so I think we we waited to film the ending to like a month later or something. Am I remembering that correctly?
Oh yeah, because we moved.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So it
Snow
snowed,
delay,
and then we were
and then-
like, "Oh shoot, we gotta move."
Move.
So we switched houses.
Yeah.
and started back up again. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, I think
crazy kids.
yeah. Well, I think it forced us to unpack really quickly because we're like, we gotta hurry up and get ourselves settled because we got a film to do. And I think what was it? By the end, we had like 6 different people staying in our house.
Probably.
Something like that, yeah.
At that point. Oh, yeah. Most of my favorite memories are actually offset because we had so many people staying at our house, and there was the 4-man push-up that they tried to do in the living room.
Yeah.
And yeah. But yeah, I remember filming the very end and watching Max choreograph the like end fight, and just watching Jacob and Peter just go at it with each other and not hold anything back. I remember being like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here, I'm trying to get footage of that up.
I also think it's for me, I'm trying to remember what we shot the first day. Oh, that was the stuff that happens like right after the cornucopia sequence. Is what we shot the first day, like Sindra and Willow meeting for the first time, and
Oh yeah.
I can't remember what else we shot that day, but it definitely is the. I can tell in the footage we're still kind of getting our groove that day, especially lighting wise.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I think the first day we shot that, and we also just shot a bunch of montage stuff with Cinder and Willow.
right.
And then the next day, did we shoot the stuff with the careers where they catch Indra and Willow? Is that
Yeah.
what we shot the second day?
I thought that
Or
was
that the
later
third
on
day?
into the shoot. It's almost like this was 10 years ago, and we've done a
Yeah,
lot of other
almost like we
things
can't
since
quite
then.
remember how it all went.
Yeah. But this was so much fun.
Yeah.
And also,
There's Philip.
rip this location because it's all development now, I'm pretty sure, isn't it? It's all logged and...
I don't know. I haven't ever gone back to look at it.
Yeah, I haven't been back to see.
That make me sad.
Or I'm pretty sure all the open areas are logged, and I don't know about this forest that we're shooting in right here, but like right next to it, I'm pretty sure is all developed housing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
just-
what we're... Sorry, go ahead,
Oh.
Joe.
Oh, I was just looking at the date on your video there. So it looks like we filmed this before the cornucopia.
Mhm.
Yeah, when we
Oh.
came back, we did 3 days. We did... This is the first day, then we did the second day, and then we did the cornucopia on the very
Yeah,
last
we
day.
pretty much
Okay.
shot the end of the third act, I would say, and the ending, and then the cornucopia on those 3 days.
Yeah.
For some reason, I felt like we did a 10-day shoot, but I guess it was only 8 days.
Really?
Yeah.
For some reason in my brain it's like it was like 15 or something. But yeah, it was only 8 days. Wow.
I'm just seeing here in the footage the grand old equipment I used to have, the rigs.
Things you would be ashamed of to own
Yeah,
now.
no, yeah, mhm. Yeah,
Oh, we're gonna add her.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm still happy because
Oh.
Tiger Paulson, who did a lot of the sound and some AC work as well on the shoot, he let us borrow his 5D
There's Ellie.
for the shoot, and yeah, I was really
I saw
happy we got to
Ellie-
use that. Got some
Ellie's in
vintage
chat,
lenses
so
on it,
it's-
and yeah, it was nice.
Well, Ellie and Jacob and anyone else who was on set who's in the chat, you should let us know some of your favorite memories
Yeah.
as well. That would be fun to hear. We get to see Ellie every now and then, but we haven't seen Jacob in a long time. Should come visit, man.
Yeah, it would be fun to see you. I remember this location was really far into the woods. It was, I don't know, like a half-mile hike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so a lot of my memories are also just walking and hiking and carrying all the stuff
Yeah.
through the woods. Whoops.
You there?
We had a delightful collection of hats, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah, each one of us has our own unique look, I think.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of us hadn't figured out our fashion sense at the time.
Well, it was also just so cold. Like, a lot of us just didn't care what we looked like. We were just like, I just want to be warm.
Yeah.
I think I stole one of Micah's jackets because at the time it fit on me almost like a dress. Like, and so.
So it fit under your other 3 layers.
There's baby Ellie. Oh, and there's me.
Or over.
It fit over the other.
Yeah, over.
Over the 3 layers.
This isn't the reunion party, Ellie?
In person.
So Jacob says, during the filming of the cornucopia scene, Micah kicked me in the face on accident, and it was awesome. That's
Are you sure it was on accident?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure there's footage
Oh, yes.
of this happening.
Well, Jacob wore his hat for the fashion, so he had figured out his fashion, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which is the rest of y'all.
Yeah. It was just all of us behind the camera people. The front of the camera knew what they were doing. Yeah. But I mean, and we have, or did you mention, Annie, that Weeping Willow just passed 4 million views?
I did not, but woohoo!
That
Weeping Willow just
happened
passed
just like
4
a
million views.
A few days ago.
Woohoo!
It's
think
been
this is-
hovering at 3.9 for a long time, and just
The part
just
right
over.
here. Oh no, that wasn't the shot where he...
It was probably one of those takes.
There's Micah right there.
Yep, watch it.
And there goes Jacob. Yep.
Yep.
Nope.
There we go.
It wasn't the one where you got kicked, Jacob, but that was the move we did 80,000 times.
I remember I was pretty sore after that.
Oh yeah, because I think
That
wasn't
was
the
a
ground
hard
like still
fall.
50% frozen at that time?
Oh,
Yeah.
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 That was fun.
I feel like I don't actually remember a lot, like, much in sequence of Weeping Willow, or like making it. Like, I remember being there and remember specific moments, but I don't actually remember making it,
Right.
like the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like what I remember is freezing on that one day when we shot those like super long lens stuff, and I had a stunt, and then some of the night scenes, and then the cornucopia.
Oh, the night scene.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah.
What
I
did we
forgot
have?
we
We
made
had
one of those.
we had one actual night scene, right? Was it just the one, and then one
Yeah.
like dawn for day, or I mean, we shot it in the daytime, but we meant for it to look like dawn. But there was only one like actual nighttime one in our backyard that we did that was like way too cold.
Yes.
Oh.
And
Sorry.
it just took forever because you didn't know how to light it.
Yeah, and we didn't. I know now. I didn't have enough lights.
Yeah.
Didn't really know that at the time, but yeah, I do now. I've learned.
Wasn't the very first thing that we shot was actually wasn't it Rachel?
Oh
As
yeah,
the-
that was the very first thing of the whole shoot. Yeah.
Oh
Promises
yeah.
were made.
Yeah.
Promises were broken. I'm still sore about it.
Yep. I said her hair wouldn't be in the shot,
And so I didn't
because
do
I was
my
shooting
hair.
close up, so she didn't do anything with the hair. And then I had the genius of idea of showing her hair. And
Great move, Max.
yep, it's still brought up.
Yep.
And not just by her, by everyone who knows the story.
Here we go. Here's the night scene. The one night scene we did.
Oh, it's so dark. So dark.
It looks.
Look at the
okay.
floating faces. I can do so much better now.
Bold, yes.
Well,
What can
that's
what
an
can I
interesting
say?
word for it, Jacob.
I take big swings, Jacob. What can I say?
Wait, isn't this the shot at the end of this shot? Didn't that actress Mary? She like literally falls like right after it cuts.
Like
Oh
trips.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
There was a small embankment. It was sand. It wasn't like sharp rocks at the bottom. Probably will die. But still, yes, it was very dark, and there was just a bank right there. So yeah, that was
My one and
great.
only screen credit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I suddenly remembered this section with the reaping. That is all digitally. Like we did that. I forgot we did that because we had individual people come and like be filmed on a blue screen, wasn't it?
Yep. Yep. And so those are all like individually shot for the most part.
There's
individually.
Josiah and Micah.
Yeah.
They pulled a lot of people from this same district for the games.
Yeah. Josiah's performance
True.
is killer.
Hey, I was worried I was gonna get picked. Oh, it's just you were scanning through the clips there, and I was just remembering the cabin scene. That was fun
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That was
because we got to
I think
shoot
second day.
on. Was it second day?
Yeah.
I thought it was later in, but
Yeah, that was like
No, it was
third
pretty-
or fourth because we had more of a groove down by then.
okay. Yeah.
yeah, but we got to shoot at it was like a museum house that they let us shoot in.
Oh.
The reaping.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there I
You
am.
know.
Speaking of great hats,
Yes.
me and my
Much
are in,
fashion.
Phillips wizard hat. Yeah.
Yep. This was also, I was just remembering, this was Max's first time working with an AD.
Yeah.
Garrett had his work cut out for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Garrett. I didn't know how to do that at the time. I do now.
Oh,
It was all
yeah.
good. But yeah, that was a new experience working with an AD and having call sheets
And shot lists too.
and shot lists.
That was
Yeah.
my first time actually shot listing.
Wait, what was that one crazy day where it was like, was it 70?
That's how warm it was.
No, 70. It was like it was a 75 shot list for one day.
Oh yeah, that was on the days we came back. We technically had 70 shots on the shot list. Obviously, like a portion of those are like a micro pickup shot of like, oh, a hand on the ground picking up a thing. But still, that's a lot of shots to do in a day.
In case anyone wanted to see, I still have
Oh my goodness.
the shot list from
that-
Leaving Willow.
Which day is that? Is that one a single day's worth of shot list, or is that just
No, this is 2 days. This is from February 5th and from February 6th.
Ah.
So we filmed on the February 4th or February 5th, we filmed Kate's death scene, the dialogue scene between Tristan and Willow, a montage scene, and then when Tristan and Willow reunite after fighting their careers.
Oh yeah.
I do remember that shot. For some reason, that shot sticks in my head.
The next day we shot on the Syndra sneaking up to the cornucopia and getting caught by Ares
Oh right.
and Ty,
Okay.
and then Syndra's death.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says fight with Boy from 10, but I'm pretty sure we didn't shoot that until we came back. Or we had to move that scheduling.
I thought we shot it. We tried to shoot it like at the end of the day, but it was too dark, so we came back and reshot it later.
Oh, the first fight after the cornucopia with Tristan and
Yeah.
Yeah.
The what was it? Oh, Annie, you should just pull up the film itself and just like skip through, and we can find parts. To
I
talk
know.
about.
Oh, there's
Hey,
the
This is the
cabin.
cabin.
Day
Day 4.
Oh yeah, that's when we like moved everything over to one side in the cabin and squeezed ourselves in there. It was already small, and then, but it was warm. It was the warmest we were the whole shoot.
Except for Jacob. Jacob
And
was
me.
outside with the blue screen.
Oh right,
yeah,
yes.
me and
Yeah.
Jacob were holding the screen.
Yep.
Human flag stands. We appreciate your service.
Oh yes, this is my main memory from Weeping Willow. It's painting all the jackets.
Spray painting the jacket.
Yeah.
Hey, it turned out really good, and those were good jackets. We still have some of those, and I actually used them in one of our later films. So they
Yep.
were solid investment. Solid investment.
10 out of 10 would not recommend for warm.
Just remember Mom having to drive around to every Walmart,
Every
in the
Walmart
area.
to buy every single one.
Yep.
In every size.
Mhm.
Thanks for stopping in, Ellie.
Yeah. Glad you got to stop in and
Oh, she's saying she loved fighting with Nikki, who played Willow, and getting stabbed with fake blood. I remember we were dancing in between shots. Oh yeah, there is much dancing and singing between to stay warm and all that. I remember.
You
Stay
still have your
warm,
jacket.
just to have
That's
fun.
good.
Yeah, I'm remembering. What was it? I think it was the middle. Because it definitely like dipped to be really cold in the middle of the shoot and then warmed up a little bit. But yeah,
Well,
it was
it
those
dipped-
middle days.
it dipped down to snowing, and then when we came back like a month later, it was warm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. These were like not nearly as cold. And then all those pedestals that you see them standing on there are all CGI. Those were like tracked and modeled and rendered by Philip, and then me and did you, Josiah, do roto as well on those? Do the
Yeah, I
compositing and
think
roto
I
on
did
those?
some roto and some background replacement
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, and
That's-
then working on that shot, that drone shot of the cornucopia. That was in the old GoPro days of drones, where they had GoPros on them, and having to deal with camera warp, fisheye, and just like those cameras weren't really built for film at the time. Now they're full blockbuster grade almost cameras, like real movie stuff now, and back then they didn't have those, and that was tough to work with. But I still love this sequence. Yeah, we're just gonna.
I'm still completely shocked how well this cuts together because there's these scenes, and then this is a completely different location.
And day.
Completely different. And day. And it.
Who, Josiah, did you edit the cornucopia, or was that one me? I couldn't remember. Or was it both of us?
I only edited one, maybe two scenes actually, and then you went through and re-edited them, so I can't claim to
Oh,
have
so you
edited
did like
anything.
roughs on a bunch of stuff, and then I did?
Yeah, I think I roughed, or did we split it in half?
No, I remember we split it in half, but I did a lot of the action sequences. I just couldn't remember specifically the cornucopia sequence, which one.
Yeah, no, I don't think I touched that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I forget there's CGI, Elijah.
Look at all these
Even though we-
homeschool teenagers with like killer like dead looks. I mean, that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
That scene though that we were just on with Willow and Sindra meeting for the first time was getting toward the end of our first day, and we lost so much light over the course of that scene and I was in the grade like denoising and trying to pull as much information out to get it to look like daytime toward the end. Oh, you saw the camera like really shake right there. That's because I stepped on a branch and it snapped under me. But it was
Oh.
100% the best take, so we just left it in there.
This was Nikki and Mary's first day, and so
Yeah.
I remember it was just a little bit of we were still trying to get a feel for how this was gonna go, and I didn't really know how to direct actually, but they killed it for being the first scene.
Yeah.
Jacob just said, all I know is that you guys both complained to me that my pants were impossible to roto. I think that's because he had the cargo pants with like zippers and stuff on it that had little like hanging down parts. But
Was that spear CGI, Max? When it went to
yes.
back?
Well, not CGI, but it was
Or
a clean plate of the spear that I animated in there.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah,
Couldn't
this scene
remember.
I remember being hard to like work out geography wise how that we were going to come into it. So this one took a while. I remember to like figure out
Yeah.
in my head.
I can't remember how much in the script. How much did it change from script to visual? Did you change a lot?
I think the
From-
cornucopia sequences did, and a few of the action scenes, but we stayed pretty close from what I remember. Like, CGI blood on the knife right there because we forgot that on set.
Whoops.
But I think it was mostly like, for the most part, we pretty much stayed to the script. I think.
Yeah, because all the locations kind of fell into place.
Yeah, we kind of wrote it for
Pretty
what we
easy.
knew we got.
Yeah, I remember a few days before we started shooting, we did walk around the entire big forest and be like, okay, this is where we're shooting this. This is where we're shooting this.
Yeah,
made decisions about all
other than the night scene, this was our coldest day right here.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see
Yeah.
the blood coagulating just a little bit.
Or it's starting to freeze over.
Yeah, her hand was stuck to her shirt.
Yeah. But oh yeah, and then that sword was made by Philip. Looks really really cool. I think we still have that? Can't remember.
We used to. I don't know if we do or not. Elijah just said that he thinks Weeping Willow hits harder because all the actors look their age because they're just children.
Oh, as opposed to the
Just-
movies, the real
Yeah.
movies, which look like.
Remember
yeah.
Nikki just taped and taped and taped and
Yeah.
taped hard.
On top of the shirt too, which is the best way to. On top of the jacket, which is on top of the shirt, which is the best way to keep a wound clean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our pre-production on that one wasn't as up to par.
I learned a lot about wound continuity through this adventure. The wound on Peter's cheekbone there is different in every time you see it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny though to watch like how the actors like got attached to their wounds. You know, like everybody
fake wounds,
had.
Lizzie, fake wounds.
Well, yes, fake wounds, but like Peter had one on his cheek, and Jacob had one on his head, and Sindra had one on her head. Like everybody was like, "Oh, I need my wound. I don't have my wound. I don't feel right."
I remember. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but on Peter's coverage right here, we only had one take because on one of the other ones I missed hitting record.
And this was like how long was this scene? Like 6 minutes of dialogue or something? Just
I don't think it was quite that long,
Coverage.
but
It's only like
it was,
2.5 pages.
It
was a
felt
good
like
amount.
an eternity for us.
it did.
Oh,
I know we're doing all these action scenes, and then we shot this scene. It was like, we're not moving. We're not. The takes take so long. This is the only real dialogue scene in the whole
Yeah.
film.
Yeah, Elijah, Nikki did amazing.
yeah.
And she was almost too young. We didn't cast her because we were thinking of not weren't we trying to kind of have a lower bound of how
Yeah,
young
I think we were like, well, we really need to start at like 12.
Canonically, you're not in the Hunger Games until you're 12.
Right.
Oh right.
And so we're like, yeah, we're looking for 12 to 18-year-olds, right? And so Nikki was 10 when we shot Weeping Willow.
Yeah.
But she was tall, and so she looked 12, but she
Yeah.
was almost, we were worried about the long days and how it was going to be for her, but she knocked it out of the park.
Right.
Indeed.
Oh, and then this scene, I got called out in the comments quite a bit because apparently the bow shooting sound effect that I found apparently seems to be from some video game. I thought it was just like a bow sound I found, but I guess it's from a video game, and some people were like, "Oh, I know what that's from. That's this thing here." So,
Is it Minecraft?
I don't know if it's specifically Minecraft. I can't remember.
That's what everyone says. Yeah.
Either that or Roblox.
So yeah, something like that. One of those type of games and stuff. So yeah, I remember this action stuff was really fun to shoot, especially because this was when we had come back to shooting, and so we got back into a flow pretty quickly, and it was a little bit warmer. We moved really
Yeah.
fast. It was really fun.
10
I
out of 10
remember having
dying
no
from
clue
Ellie.
what was going on. Max
These
really
days?
directed these scenes, and I was like, yep, I hope it comes together. And it did.
Oh, that shot. I do remember that shot. Okay, yeah. Sorry, a lot of my memories are just like specific shots.
It's been a long time since I've actually watched the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure that was B-roll that we just went and got a completely different day during post-production.
I don't think it was B-roll. I think it was like before someone entered the frame or something like that. It was like clipped off the end of a take or something. Can't remember. Oh yeah, I remember this scene. She had to act like she didn't know how to shoot a bow because she actually did.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh no.
Remember we were watching this in the theater at one of the festivals, and there was somebody who audibly went,
Yeah. I remember this sequence like especially her death sequence and some of the stuff around here took quite a few versions in the edit to really fine tune.
The speech.
I think there was parts where I didn't quite get enough coverage. I think we got there in the end, but I just remember that we had to go through a few versions on that to get it right.
Yeah, watching it again, it definitely like hits really hard. Like, and now that I'm older and have a 5-year-old, it's like, whoa, that was really hard. I kind of think that in retrospect, we went a little much on the on the blood specifically. But yeah, I think that's an interesting perspective looking back at it. At the time, it was just like, oh yeah, we could just, and then this person kills this person, and then yeah. And it's like it's dying. It's so cool, and now as a parent, I'm screening movies and shows for our daughter, and I wouldn't let her watch this right now. Yeah. It's an interesting feeling looking back at it.
I remember playing this part over and over again in post, trying to decide if like we should hear the announcer come in and say, announcing the winner of the Hunger Games. I don't remember which year this was supposed to be.
It says at the very beginning, I think.
Yeah.
But-
Was it? Yeah.
So we played with like an announcer voice being there, or should we just hear the cannon, or should we how should we end it? And we tried like 3 or 4 different endings before we settled on just kind of leaving it there.
Yeah.
You don't really explain it.
Mark just asked, how did your parents and the actors' parents react when they saw the film? I think most of the parents of the lead characters and everyone had already knew the script, I think. For the most part.
Yeah.
Definitely our parents. But I can't remember.
I don't remember any dramatic reactions or stories from that, but I think maybe, especially Nikki's mom, probably was like, "Oh boy, that's intense."
But I think they knew us pretty well for our talent.
Mark said, Mark said
Go
that the
ahead.
first time I ever put blood in a film, we horrified our parents. And then Jacob just said, I remember my parents were so hard to convince to let me do this. I'm sure they regretted their decision.
Oh.
Yeah, that's another, like, the blood is one thing, but seeing your child play a villain is a whole other thing, I would assume.
Yeah. I do remember our mom advised us to cut down on some of the violence in the editing room. Like, we filmed it and then we edited it and we're like, ooh, that's a little violent. So we cut it down a little bit, I do remember.
And a lot of it, we were trying to, like, match the movies themselves. Which the first one especially goes pretty far. But
Yeah. We were kind of locked into the Hunger Games premise.
yeah.
And didn't choose to shy away from it with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did have some questions from Instagram on people just asking about the behind the scenes. Was it easy or hard gathering all the extras? Did you have to train them all for choreo?
Yes. I don't remember how hard it was, but I think it was fairly difficult. But a lot of, like, it was harder to do the casting, I would say. And quite a few people that auditioned for the leads are people we had for the cornucopia sequence. So we already had a connection for a lot of people there. So that wasn't, like, super difficult. And then the whole choreography scene.
And a lot of siblings.
Oh, yeah.
Like
yeah.
Jacob,
Siblings.
your sister was there, and Nikki's brother came, and Peter's sister came, and is there anyone else? I think one of our careers,
There were a couple, yeah.
his brothers also came, and so a lot of them were siblings of the main cast.
Right. Yeah. But in the cornucopia scene, choreographing it wasn't, like, the hardest. It was more difficult to. I don't know how to say specifically, but to lay out the fight. The teaching the people to do the choreography was fairly easy. It was laying it out in beforehand that was the harder part.
Making the big overview plan.
Making that graph that shows the route of every specific person and how best it would look out on camera.
And then we typed it up with arrows and everything.
Yeah. And
So everybody got to look at that for quite a while before we ever got to set.
Right.
And kind of memorize what they were going to kind of do.
But yeah, I remember that.
What was the hardest scene to direct? That's I didn't really know what directing was. I feel like this is the project where I started to get an inkling of what the director actually does. So, I can't remember, Max, are we both credited as a director?
Yeah, I think this one was one we definitely co-directed.
For sure, that's the reality. Like, Max pretty much directed anything action blocking wise. I think I really only directed like performance.
Yeah.
And
just being a backup on a lot of even in the action scenes, just like if I needed a what's the beat here that we need to do, like you
That's
had
right,
a lot
yeah.
of that as well.
Yeah. I think the hardest scene might have been just that dialogue scene. The between Tristan and Willow, just because I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to approach a longer scene like that. How do you like I really felt like I couldn't give too much direction because then how could they possibly remember all of it?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can remember the first couple things, but 3 minutes into this scene, would you remember the direction that I was giving? So I think that was probably the hardest one for me.
Yeah. Nick in the comments asked, where would you rank Weeping Willow among your films? I don't know. What's your favorite child? No. I mean, it's definitely up there, but it's also kind of different than a lot of our other projects in that it's so long. It's like it's kind of in that halfway zone between feature and short film.
Yeah.
So it's a little hard to judge it against a lot of our others, but it's way up there for me.
I think it's pretty high up there because it was our first big one.
Yeah.
But as far as like final quality, because I look at things visually a lot of times, and so since it was the first one, it wasn't as good quality as far as like camera and lighting and all that stuff. So it's a little lower down there as far as that aspect.
Right.
But as far as attachment wise, it's pretty high up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still think like it still looks pretty good for being 10 years old. Like it still looks pretty decent, and I would say like for at least for me as one of the writers, it's not bad.
I was gonna say, as a writer, I'm like, this is not high on the list at all.
It's
like it's high on the list for all the memories and where we were at that time. But as a writer, it's kind of like there's not a lot of structure going on there or character arcs or.
I mean, for not knowing very much about structure at the time, I think we did okay. But
there's so many more ways I can look at it now and go, oh, I know how to make this way more compelling, way more interesting.
We succeeded on the feels, though.
Yeah, it definitely like it's one of the films I like cringe the least watching of my old stuff. So that's kind of where I judge it. Is like how much hurt do I feel looking at some of the things we didn't properly do at the time, and like I mean obviously there's a lot that we would do different, but also not as much as some of our other projects.
I would kind of agree with Max. I was gonna say it definitely is pretty high on just the watchable level, whereas some of our other short films and the comments that we've gotten on those, I'm kind of like, I could see why we made it and we had fun making it, but it was like they're a little too slow, or this part didn't make sense, or other things. Whereas Weeping Willow, for the most part, is kind of one flow that you can watch all the way through, and it's quite watchable. But I don't know, maybe not, because every time I watch it, I skip through, and I just go yeah. But anyway,
I think we managed to write some really good scenes. Granted, most of them were the action scenes, and so it was Max who made them come together. But I'm not sure as like an overall if we captured as much, we definitely overall, I'm not sure it all blended together, stayed together as a whole film, but
right.
Noah wants to know what was the budget and how long of a shoot, which we kind of already answered. It was 8 days.
It was
5 days.
$1,000.
To be specific, $1,010. I believe.
$1,010.
I was just showing them that I also have like the original like budget.
And for
I'm
a
pretty
bunch
sure
of
this was-
teenagers who didn't have jobs, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Looking now, I'm like, the heck were we thinking? But
Should have gotten warmer jackets.
Yeah. I also don't think there was a food budget.
I
It
think
was very much a bring
Oh.
your own lunch.
what?
no, I think there was food budget in there. The jackets were the majority of the budget.
And I think it
And-
was just like a lot of, because all the families kind of came together and like made food for everyone. and
There was
stuff
a
like
lot of
that.
potluck vibes going on.
Yeah.
So, in no way could we make anything for that amount now.
No.
No.
Hey, I just made my short film for 500. I think.
What is it?
With what, a total of 5 people?
Yeah. But that was mostly food budget.
All
And we
right.
didn't pay for the costumes. Thanks, Lizzie.
We need a little.
Yeah.
So $2,000 of sweat equity is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last one is, what's the hardest thing you had to deal with, or maybe setback you had to work around? Weather.
Yeah.
Weather.
And just like scale, I think for me, because it was a time where like I had made movies with me, my brother, and my mom operating camera half the time. It's like that is what I was coming from, and so and unlimited time. This was one of the first shoots of ours beyond like a one day let's show up and do something fun, that we're like, these are the set amount of days we have to film and we have to get it in this time. Most of my other projects like Loyalty, which is the one you guys had like worked on a little bit, but it was still my project. I was like, we shoot till it's done. And because
And you edit at the end of every day and go
Yeah.
like, well, we're
Gotta-
reshooting
yeah.
that tomorrow.
which I was at the age where we could do that, but that would never fly anymore in our life, so yeah, that was a big curve for me of just like the pre-production, the planning out, and then also just working with a lot more people.
Yep. Well, unless anybody had any other thoughts on Weeping Willow, I had some kind of questions for you guys more about like where we're at now in the past 10 years. And it's kind of a joint question of what's the biggest things that you learned from Weeping Willow, but also just like what is different for you now in your process between where we were 10 years ago and where we are now.
I
Who
mean,
wants to go first?
I think I just said it, where it's like learning how to do pre-production a lot better, because I like when we did that, I didn't know how to shot list really, and it was like pulling teeth for me to like force myself to think about shot listing. And now like I can't wait to do it on projects, and I have a lot of fun with it. And I still use kind of basically the same template I did at the time. But yeah, I think that, I mean, is one of the biggest things that I learned from that moving forward into the next years. Emmy?
We might have a visitor. We're not sure. It might just be the
Are you
wind.
right there? Oh no, it must have been the kitty.
Yeah, I think the door just opened by itself.
Okay.
Anyway, let's see. Well, this was the first project that I produced, I think. I did a lot of producing on one other film, but this was the first film
Like start
with
to
all of us
finish.
together, start to finish, that I produced. And that was, well, it was really fun. I learned that I really love doing that, so that's a win. And since gone on to produce a couple other short films and our feature film, and just, I don't know, like this is the first time that we went and got multiple locations. We actually did casting. We, gathered together a crew of more than just us and Max and Micah. And so it was really fun bringing all that together and seeing everyone have a great time. And I think there were problems every day. That's just what the job is. And it was fun solving those. So I'm pretty sure the paper budget that Annie just pulled out, that feels a little laughable. Because since then I've budgeted a feature film. I'm in the middle of roughing out a budget for another feature film, and you can't enter any line item without the same amount of zeros as the whole budget for Weeping Willow. So yeah, no, I think that was it was a really great learning experience all throughout. And I've definitely used all of those skills again in obtaining locations and gathering together a cast and crew, running auditions. I'm sure there's more. And I think every time we do it, I learn more about just being a better human and being more relational and caring about people's needs more and wanting to have the Lord's input. And I know that this project was a big growth in that department as well, in just seeing what was possible for us. Because at first it was just a little entry in a local film festival competition kind of a thing, and to teenagers, homeschool teenagers at the time, it was kind of a big deal to be in the news and to win a prize for that, and then to have it go to other festivals and win other prizes and stuff. And it felt like, wow, like we could really be doing something. And at that point, that's when I was, our mom had lots of conversations with us as well, but that's when we were like, oh, you mean lots of people want to be involved and watch this? Oh, people are watching us. We should probably not just make things for fun, but make things that are impactful in the right way and can touch people's hearts a little bit more. And so this was the project that kind of spurred a lot of those thought processes in me, at least.
Yeah. Thinking back, we had been on a more professional set before then, so I knew what set, how a set ran. Like I knew how it looked, but Weeping Willow was the first time that we did it ourselves, and yeah, I'm trying to think back. I don't know. Those are way deep memories back there for me, but that makes more sense what you were saying, Rachel, because I was just thinking about that the other day of when those thought processes of I want to tell stories that have meaning, that make an impact. I feel like I was trying to trace back when those thoughts started, like kind of where they came from. And that is true. Yeah, it was after Weeping Willow. And I think after Weeping Willow was when it was like, yeah, this is what I think. Weeping Willow was when it went from, oh, we're just making movies in our backyard for fun, to, okay, I want this to be my career.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because at the time we did this project, we'd had we'd had a really good set experience and then a really bad one on like
Like
Uh,
back to back.
yeah on for other people. It wasn't one we were running, it was ones we were working on, and so we were able to like contrast them together and figure out how to do our own thing to an extent. But yeah.
Joe, did you have thoughts? Process now versus then, or
Yeah,
growth,
not
or
not a ton, just because I feel like then to me, honestly, I felt like I was just sort of along for the ride. Like you, Lizzie, and you, Annie, wrote the thing, and Rachel was really working on producing it, and Max was doing the cinematography and editing and all that, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, it's been my style to just sort of watch and absorb what other people are doing all around me, and so I was there helping, um, and but and I have a sense of onset I was and or throughout the whole process I was just kind of helping as much as I could and trying to get the big picture so I could explain it to other people, but not really coming up with it myself. Like I don't think I was really a creative on Weeping Willow. I was just kind of a grunt. I don't know, they're always helping. And so like my process since then has been how to become a creative like with you guys more so than like the not like almost not even the birth of that like it's like before I even started my process, or like I was working on my own things, film stuff with you, Annie, and Lizzie, but like what we were all doing as a crew together, which Weeping Willow was kind of the first big one that we all did. It's like I just was trying to find my place in all of that. So I think since then, as I was saying, like Max pretty much did the edit and I just helped a little bit. And so since then, it's kind of flopped sort of the other way where I do most of the edit and then Max comes in and, helps polish it a little bit and, gives advice here and there, and which I love. So, yeah, I don't know. For me, I kind of feel like I'm still sort of just watching you guys all and I'm along for the ride. And so it's like almost like the next 10 years is going to be when I get to like really help. Not that I didn't before, but help with the creative endeavors and push Abundant House forward with all of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've always been kind of the behind the scenes. I do really like the camera department. I think camera gear has just gotten easier to work with.
Yeah, that's what
So-
money buys you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think obviously my process as a writer has changed completely.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I think even after Weeping Willow, all the way maybe even up until Descent, which was 4 years later, I was still kind of going, I'm not really a writer. Like, I don't really want to be a writer. I want to have written things. I don't want to write them. Or I want to direct, but I don't want to write. But nobody's writing the stories that I want to direct. So Lizzie and I just kept end up writing whatever we were making. So it's been since then that I've kind of been like, okay, if I'm gonna be a writer, like, let's do this. Let's learn about this, figure it out. And as a director, though, Weeping Willow was the beginning because, like I said, that was where I started getting an inkling of what this actually is and how much fun it is, and that's what I still love to do. Um, I was just thinking about what you were saying, Rachel. And answering some of was it Mark who was asking about how parents reacted, and I remember we had a big discussion after the film was all done and um out on YouTube and everything about like, okay, but this film isn't about anything, and we knew our motivations going into it were just about learning and supporting each other and being a team and really trying to bring our best skills together. Like that was our motivation going into it. But on the other side, people who didn't know anything about us, because we didn't expect lots of people to watch it. Nobody had watched anything that we'd made before,
Yeah,
you know?
like 100 people saw some things
Like,
that Max
maybe.
made, you know, and like 10 people saw anything that
that
the rest
we
of us made. You know?
Yeah.
Right, and
So
so
when it started get, you know, a million views, it started feeling a little real.
yeah, it was after that point that we did have lots of discussions and about, okay, what are we actually making movies about, and what are we actually making movies for, and not to just get caught up in the adventure and the fun of it, but to be really, really purposeful about what we were doing. Because of like starting out Weeping Willow, we did not know the amount of effort and time from us, but from everyone that was going to go into it. It was very much, hey, we could just go shoot some things in the woods, that would be fine. And then, oh, well, we could bring a couple more people on. And then, oh, what if we could bring on enough people to do the cornucopia scene? And oh, we're going to need to feed all these people. You know, it was like, it just kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And so it was through the whole thing that we were realizing, oh, if people are going to put this much time in, if we're going to put this much effort in, it has to be worth watching. It has to be meaningful. And like Rachel was saying, it has to affect people's hearts in the right way. So it's definitely the biggest thing I feel like is different now, instead of just rolling forward with whatever sounds good and fun. As a writer.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say my perspective has changed. Because, like, you're right that when we were filming Weeping Willow, it was like, oh, yeah, we could do this for 8 days straight, you know, like just, you know. But, I mean, it wasn't until we did our first feature where it was like, we can't do that. Like, we can't just, like, put all life on hold and not eat and not sleep for 3 weeks. Like, you just can't do that for a feature. So,
Or it's okay to do that to yourself sometimes, maybe one time when you still have a working thyroid. But it's
Yeah.
not okay to demand that of your friends and family just because you're doing it.
yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, definitely have changed perspective on just the scale since then.
Well, that was one of my other questions. How has your idea of success changed since then to now? Thing.
I mean, idea of success. I mean, we've made a movie that made money, so I think that puts it a little bit into perspective. But like, I don't know. I don't think mine.
Weeping Willow made money.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Did.
I
But
don't
it still
think
is.
I don't think my idea of success has changed much. It's still about. It's slightly less about the end result, and more about what it was like the environment making it. That I have fun with, like. I mean, I love finishing it and watching the finished thing, but I also have a lot. That's not my focus through the whole thing. It's a lot of fun to make it and to be in a creative environment with other people. And I don't know if that's changed a whole lot for me. other than like focusing on it a little bit more, I would say.
Focusing on fostering that environment
Yeah.
that you want
Yeah.
to experience.
And being particular about making that happen, having that environment on set. Whereas this one, it just kind of happened. Being more intentional about it, I would say.
Yeah. I think at the time, success in perspective of Weeping Willow when we made it was we wanted to win the little competition we made it for.
That's true.
And we did. So that was a success. And, you know, all the rest of it was just kind of a surprise. And I had somebody tell me like a year or two after I was talking with another producer, and I said, yeah, I mean, we made it for $1,000, and yeah, I mean, the royalties, like, it's made its money back. And I remember being really shocked and surprised that the other person was like, really? Like, it was like the definition of success in the film industry is that it makes its money back, and hopefully more. But like, that's where success begins, is when it makes its money back. And so even though the budget was really small, it did that. So yay. I still have that metric, but the budget is a lot bigger now. And even though it's nowhere near as big as what is being made by filmmakers every day in the bigger budget lands, you know, the metric of success for us is still like, so if we spend $200,000 on this, will we make $200,000 on this? So I don't think that one has changed, but I think the one that has changed is the like, does this movie touch hearts in a way that makes them think? Does it is it something worth watching? And just kind of like what Annie was saying, that is a metric of success for me. That we don't need to hear that from millions of people, but I do need to hear that from at least a few key people in our life. That feels like a success to me. And even on some of our other films, which have lots of really fun negative reviews on IMDb, what's really cool about that is you can tell that they definitely watched the whole movie. And had strong opinions about it. So I think that's a success, that they watched the whole thing. They were obviously engaged. They didn't have to agree, but, you know, they cared enough to leave a negative review. So
Still get paid.
we did touch their hearts in some way. And
I mean, that kind of state has been true, maybe not since Weeping Willow, but for Weeping Willow as well, because there's so many comments on it that talk about the ending, and so it's just like, you know, that someone at least skipped to the end, if not watched it all the way to the end. And...
Yeah. I'm not sure I was thinking about success while we were filming it. It definitely was. And we're just doing this for fun, and we're doing this for a competition, and that'd be really cool if we win. And definitely was not expecting it to kind of blow up online and be our first, like,
Be our calling card for a while.
Yeah. Well, and like, it was the first time that we made money, even though you know, I actually don't know how much money it made, and it's not like it was a lot, and like we did, you know, super well, but
It didn't pay any bills, that's for sure, but it reimbursed
definitely
us
not.
for making it. So
Yeah.
success.
Maybe reimburse mom and dad for paying for all the food. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I eventually built an idea for success later. Like I'm not sure when that came in, but definitely my my definition for success nowadays would be that it makes its money back, and that it also um touches people's hearts. And I think for me it's now realizing that the end product doesn't have to be perfect. Like as long as it makes its money back and it touches people's hearts in some way, like I can put to rest all the little like, ooh, I wish we'd done that better, like, ooh, like I think that's definitely changed through the years, because it feels like every time you make a project, it's like, oh, I wish we had done this better. Or, as soon as you press the submit button, you suddenly submit button. That's what I was trying to say. The submit button. You suddenly remember all the things that you forgot and that are messed up, but that still doesn't mean the project or the movie isn't a success.
Brightsword is asking what are the revenue streams. So it was just YouTube revenues, because we had a custom score made for it that we were able to monetize it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And we also made it and released it like the same year Catching Fire came out, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Catching Fire or the first Mockingjay?
Catching Fire came out the November before it came out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I think it hit the whatever magical Venn diagram you need to hit for something to go viral, just like the right moment in time and algorithms and all that stuff, that it did go viral. Well, I can't remember how fast it hit 1 million. Like, was there a while before it did, or?
Yeah, it was kind of a slow burn, and then every time a new Hunger Games film came out, it got another bump.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it just bumped over 4 million.
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, a new Hunger Games film came out.
Yeah,
which I still haven't seen. But yeah, I think that so it was mostly YouTube, just because of that. But it's not really a thing that is a proven track record of working. I mean, film is very hard to do, but like that specifically is kind of a lightning in a bottle kind of thing, I would say. But I was just curious, because we made this for a fan film competition, does anyone remember what the 2 movies we were like playing around with ideas of writing a fan film for?
I don't remember. No.
All I remember was you guys came back from the meeting where they announced the fan film, and you guys were like, we have 3 ideas, but we really like this one, so we're doing that one.
Yeah. It what?
It wasn't Divergent, was it?
No.
Mm-hmm.
It was either Hunger Games or Inception.
Inception.
Oh, it is.
We were gonna do an Inception?
Yeah.
What?
Y'all remember that?
No.
We had wanted to do something in that genre world, like, because I mean that hadn't come out recently yet. That was still a little while, but I think we had all just like watched it again around then as well.
How the heck did we think we could pull that off?
It's very, very, very good. Very good we didn't do that.
I think I had a very heavy influence on making sure it was Hunger Games, because as soon as you said Hunger Games, I was like, we have so many teenage friends who would love to be in a movie.
And we have a backyard not backyard, but like a location very
Yeah.
quickly. And we didn't live in a city for an Inception fan film. We lived in the woods. So that's where we're. Yeah.
We didn't have the budget.
That's why the Inception one was like, it was there for, it got played around a little bit, but we never even like wrote an outline for what a story would be for that. Like we went right into. Do you remember how many, like, because at the time we were still doing you write a script and you write a script and then we'll smash them together to make a script. Like, do you remember how many of us wrote different versions?
I think it was 4 of us.
So
I think it was Lizzie, me, and Micah and Rachel.
Okay.
I don't remember writing a whole one though.
No, I think you did like heavy revisions on one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I remember there was a lot of all of us got like a quarter of the way through, so there was a lot of different versions of the beginning, but then hardly any of us finished to the end.
Yeah. Yep. Needless to say, we don't write movies like that now.
No.
No.
Or edit movies like that.
Oh yeah, we would edit.
That's the editing process as well.
Didn't you edit the scene, Rachel? I thought. Or no.
No.
Lizzie, you edited the montage in the middle of the movie. I remember.
Oh, I did. I know. I just checked the credits of Weeping Willow to like check what we all were credited for, and I was like, wait, I have a post-production editing credit? I was like,
Yeah. No, you had an eye for you had the best eye for montages at the time.
Oh. Okay. Yes, I do remember that now. I forgot that.
I'm very sure I had lots of opinions about all of it, but
Yeah. I mean, we all did.
I didn't make
Yeah.
my own. Yeah.
Joe, did you have any thoughts on success?
Not really. I would say kind of stick by what I said earlier, which is just I'm following you guys in success. So when we made Weeping Willow, I'm having fun, and when we made Match Made, I was having fun, and I'm still having fun, and now I'm starting to think, oh, maybe I should start thinking about like broader scope and things where you guys all had these thoughts 10 years ago. So, but I don't know. I've had thoughts about. I guess I felt like Weeping Willow happened to me, not that I made it happen. And so like I didn't have an idea of what success it should have had. You know, I mean, we were all doing it for the fan film competition, but at least for me, when I get down into the nuts and bolts of the story and you know, doing the VFX or whatever, it's just do the best job I can do at the time. And so when you hit release, you just kind of want it to be the best movie, and then whatever happens is kind of how I always picture things, which is hard when you're looking at the money as Rachel does, and when you want to tell a story as Annie and Lizzie you guys do. And so I don't know, I think I need to work on that still, and so I could just kind of parrot what everyone else has said about, you know, if it makes it money, it's money back and all that kind of stuff. But I kind of would say I actually don't think about that. It's for me, because I just like, I'm just having fun making films with my family and my friends, and like I just want it to be the best movie it can be. And so like I just pour my heart into the actual making of the movie rather than dreaming about where it's going to go or what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Also have a cat.
I would also say, like, in part what you were just saying, Joe, like, another thing I've grown in is the post-production workflow is a thing that we did not have at the time. And you and I specifically have really figured out a lot since then.
No.
I feel like it's still like proper workflow is still kind of a mystery. Like we're still like every time we work on a film, it's like, oh, you know, we should work in one more, like another aspect of what we've heard professionals do.
But we are still a lot more consistent now than we were then.
pretty
Yeah.
sure you're technically a professional now, Josiah. So
I know, I've gotten paid for it. Oh boy.
I was gonna say, after Weeping Willow, I think was when the seeds for Homegrown Filmmaker were kind of started. If I'm remember, I don't remember exactly how long after Weeping Willow, but because it was like a year later was when we did our first film intensive, wasn't it?
Not even. I don't think.
No.
I think
Because
it
we
was
had
only
the
about-
other mini film intensive before we had our actual film intensive.
Mm-hmm.
Then we do August. It was August of that year, so we
Yeah.
finished in
Well, we
March.
did 3. We did one that same year, and then we did one
The Friday or the
in
February after.
2017.
Yeah, I thought it was 17.
no, we did one in February of 2019.
No.
Well,
No,
the
sorry, 2017. You're right.
2017.
Yeah,
And then we
And
did one
then
in
2018.
2018.
in 2018. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what y'all are saying. I think looking back, we looked at Weeping Willow kind of like a model for a lot of things, and we parsed it apart for a couple years. I feel like, and when this was something we did that we really liked, or something that we were aiming at that we really liked, and these are things that we didn't like. But a lot of what we've decided we would like to focus on and put a lot of thought and the word just escaped my brain, intentionality behind, like you can see the roots of it in Weeping Willow. Like it was around that time that we started hearing from people like, wow, working with you guys is different. We like the way that you work together. We like the atmosphere that you have on set. And we started being like, oh, okay, so atmosphere on set, creating a really good creative team environment was something that we really wanted to be purposeful with. Because and we heard that from a lot of people. And the amount of effort that we put in, you put in 100%, whether you're making money on it or not, or, you know, it's just for the fun. That was also something that we were like, yeah, that's something we want to keep forever. And so all those things I feel like have become baked into like my metric of success. Like when I look at the finished film, am I not only excited to watch the finished film and not cringe about it, but am I also not cringe about all the memories involved in making it, which is not always.
Yeah.
We definitely have learned some hard lessons along the way of the films that we've made, where I look at the movie, I'm like, oh, I remember that being a difficult time where I didn't do the right thing, or we didn't work it out, or, you know. But for the most part, I think we do. I'm able to watch the films that we've made and just enjoy them, because I know the effort that we put in and what it was like to make it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned the set atmosphere. I think that that's definitely. I didn't realize that we had an atmosphere when we made Weeping Willow, and so the kind comments that we received after the fact made us focus on that, and I would say that that's definitely part of my metric of success now, and something that I plan on actually putting more work into and intentionality into, making sure that the set atmosphere is dialed in and where we want it, and we're not just letting things happen because that's how it happened. But we're being intentional and being prayerful and thoughtful about the environment that we bring and create every day, because you just get so close with everybody that you make a movie with. I don't want their memories to be tainted in any way either.
I think it actually gets harder to do that as more money gets involved. It gets harder to, because like when we were just kids and it was all just fun and you're jumping in, it's like that atmosphere can be there, but as soon as there's money involved, people aren't always there for just the fun of it, which is the way it should be. But I don't know how to express what I'm talking about, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, because like
you actually have to become more and more intentional the more money that's involved,
right,
not less.
Because one of the other metrics is the money part of it. If we're talking about metrics of success, so it shouldn't, like, yes, we wanted to make its money back, and that is one of the definitions of success for us, but that should never take priority to the point where the environment suffers.
Right.
And the more money that's involved, the easier it is to be like, well, we can let the environment suffer just a little bit, right? And to not realize that you're doing that. So yeah, that's definitely something that we're trying to be even more intentional with as we have bigger and bigger budgets to work with.
Yeah, that's something we learned in the past years is in the movies and out of the movies is stakes. The stakes of making this or not being able to pull it off. That was a big thing for me on this project, especially.
Yeah. I was just thinking of a measure of success that I think is still the same from Weeping Willow, is that I personally learned something. Like I don't want to do a project that I didn't learn anything for or on. Which that's still still something I want.
Yeah, did we grow?
Did we grow? Did we learn something?
Yep.
Did we push ourselves, but not too much? Because we've done that before.
Because once you stop learning, it becomes boring.
Yeah.
So if you're
Not
always pushing yourself, it's just gonna it's always gonna be a job at the end, but it's just not gonna be fun. I mean, you're always gonna wanna. There are times where you want to just stick with something but you're made to learn.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, Micah, is that like it's not that it becomes boring necessarily. Is you start to get lax a little bit.
Yeah,
Things you
you're
start to lose.
If you're not pushing yourself, you get into a groove.
Right. Which can be
Usually
good.
that's a good thing.
But it can be taken too far.
It's when the groove turns into a rut that you have a problem.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like Nick and Megan and Mark are all headed out. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, hanging out with us.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think part of a project feeling successful to me is that it was fun, and that I was able to be passionate about at least some part of it. which you can't be passionate about everything, and definitely my perspective has changed since Weeping Willow, that it's like, well, it is, we do have to make money and it is a job, so with the job comes all the things that you don't want to do, so you can't be passionate about everything, but I find projects to be like, they definitely feel way more successful when you're able to be passionate about something in the project. And normally for me, that's just the learning, and yeah, the learning part definitely does make it fun.
Well, I guess real quick, does anybody have any thoughts on vision? Kind of real quick, but if not, we can just
Weeping Willow too? No.
I don't think so.
What about vision?
well, I feel like my idea of vision has changed, has expanded.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's actually changed since Weeping Willow, because of Weeping Willow, all of that.
I think my vision got more expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's hard for me because I was so young for Weeping Willow that like I don't think I was thinking about vision necessarily. Other
But
than
in
having a
the
naive, I think I
10
had
years.
a naive vision of like, oh yeah, we'll just keep making films and doing stuff, and so I definitely feel like my vision has matured, become more realistic, or maybe I just have one for. I actually have a vision now.
And title for Weeping Willow 2, Read 'em and Weep.
Oh dear.
It's just a movie about Tristan being sad. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if mine has changed that much. My perspective on it has changed that much, specifically in that area. Other
Your
than
vision of what?
how I think about ideas, I think it's like I was saying earlier, it's more about being intentional with them, but it's like being intentional once I have a vision. Being specific, planning more instead of just like it'll work out.
I don't know that I had anything extra to say related to vision.
I think we were
You
kind of
said vision, and I went, did I already say everything I wanted to say about it?
Is it different than success? I guess the thing that I've realized the most about vision is that when people talk about vision, it feels very vague and big picture, and that's not actually what vision really feels like. And I feel like back in Weeping Willow, we made it. It was so fun, and it started doing really well. And we started going like, "Wow, we could really do this movie thing." And Vision just kind of went like, "So let's make movies. We're gonna do that, right?" Like, it's so big and vague, and the way that it actually works is like so specific, so tiny. Sometimes it's like take this step and take this step, but the big picture vision is still there, and it's such a different feeling than, well, I have these dreams and I have these things I want to accomplish in life. It's
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
You
not-
guys
not-
know what I'm talking about?
Kind of. Well, like now that you're saying that, I'm thinking about. I think Weeping Willow was when I started to realize that film either had to become serious or stay a hobby because too much money would start to get involved. Like I think that's when money became connected to filmmaking for me, because all of our projects after that were like, you know, coming up with creative ways to fund them
Mm.
and trying to figure out how, like, Weeping Willow was when at least I started thinking about, okay, how do we make projects that make money? Just because I was like, well, we have all these story ideas and we need money, for that. So I do understand what you mean, Rudy, about, we just had this big idea of we're going to make movies. To over the years it became more detailed of like, well, so in order to make those movies we need money, so in order to make money, what are the things that we need and the skills that we need? And then our projects became much more, we know we need to learn this, and so we built a project around learning how to do that and finding a creative way to fund it at the same time.
Until we got to the point where we were like, okay, now we need to learn how to sell a movie. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we built a project for doing that. So, yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it, that we have like smaller vision inside of the big vision. And
Yeah.
we've been pretty intentional about building the box for our creative project around that smaller piece that we know we need to learn in order to do bigger things. Because even today, if you gave us a couple $1 million to make a movie, we'd probably need to learn a few things.
What do you do with
Yeah.
a couple $1 million? Where
Where
does it all go?
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
where it all goes, but yeah. There's the recipe of making a couple $1 million back is something that we haven't learned yet, but we will. And I know that those steps are given to us, and I think I guess a vision thing that I've been really pondering myself this year has been just really trusting the Lord for that vision, and not just jumping into things because I think it's a good idea or because I have a good intuition feeling about it or because I have vision for it, but really consulting with the one who holds the big picture vision. And that's been something that I've been thinking about a lot more this year as we think about what our next project will be.
I think looking back on Weeping Willow, it's cool to see that our ability to it does scale up, even though we're still like big picture vision, don't know how that will happen. But I think about it in some of the smallest things, like we were talking about the cornucopia scene. It's like I couldn't envision it when it was on the paper. I didn't, but it still was the step in front of you and the step in front of you and the step. We got to get the people to be there. We got to plan out how they're going to go, plan out how we're going to shoot it, And it's like, even though I couldn't actually envision what it would be, you knew how to follow the steps.
Yeah.
And that was what the whole project was like too, because we couldn't envision where it was going to go or what it was going to end up being, but we were just like, just do the step in front of you and do the step in front of you. And now we're at these bigger projects where we're making more money and we're spending more money, and it's like, it's the same thing. I don't know how to envision how this is gonna go. But I know the next step, and I know the next step, and I know the next step. And so it's been cool to see how that ability scales as well in the last.
Yeah.
Because I can't, there's no way the 18-year-old version of me, 10 years ago version of me, could envision what we're doing today.
No.
You know, even though it is what we envision, we're making movies. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
It's not out of the scope.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But just knowing more about what it takes to make the movies that you see in your head when you're a teenager.
Yep.
Yeah.
It takes a while for reality to catch up, I feel like. What you can do in reality to catch up with. I think that's one of the things that surprised me the most, how long it's taken. Takes a long time
Yeah. I do definitely remember
to
when
bring
it was,
all the pieces together.
Yeah, I do remember. I think at that around the Weeping Willow time, it was like hearing like, oh yeah, an average film takes like 2 years to make, and I remember being like, 2 years? That's so long. And now I'm like, 2 years? That's short. Like,
We don't got any time.
Well, this has been fun.
And so what
Going
we
to
have learned
learn
applies
applies
to
to
us.
us.
YouTube copyright. No.
Oh, sorry.
no.
Don't sing over there. But this has been a fun trip down memory lane.
yeah.
Definitely.
But I think we should probably sign off here. Any last thoughts? You don't have to have them, but if you do.
I was just trying to remember, were we originally planning to do all 24 tributes, or were we just like, we'll just put out a casting call, and then we saw how many responses we got back, and we're like, we might have enough people to do a full cornucopia, because we were still writing the script and finishing the script when we did auditions.
I think we had a couple different versions. Like there was a version where similar to like the reaping scene where we shot all in close-ups. Like we were going to do a version of that, like solely focused on Willow the whole time, with just a few people in the that was the version we were thinking about doing, but we got enough people to do the full thing. I'm pretty sure that was written into the script, like an alternate version. I feel like I'm remembering that.
Well, thanks for suggesting this, Annie. It's
Yeah.
it's been fun to reminisce a little bit and to spend time. I'm glad the folks who were able to be here live got to come. It was really fun to virtually catch up.
Yeah.
With everybody.
Yes.
And even though we're all in the same house, we're on 3 different floors. So it was fun getting to do this. So I'm grateful you took the time to organize it, Annie.
Yeah.
Me too. This has been fun. Go back. Remember the beginning. Anything, now that we've gone back, is there anything we should bring back that we've forgotten?
What do you mean bring
I don't
back?
feel like
Our
bring
hats.
back to
Yeah, definitely.
our hats, our fashion. We should definitely
Oh,
bring
yeah.
back our.
I missed that
fashion.
coat I had, man. That was a great coat. It died from near constant use and frozen fake blood. But it was a great coat. I love that coat.
Wait, does anybody have that picture, that crew picture that we took at the end of the very first day?
I'm trying to remember which.
We were in our driveway.
Oh, I don't know if that was our first day or if that was a pre-production day.
I'm pretty sure that was like our first day of filming.
Oh yeah, I had it somewhere. I don't know where it is.
We can see how baby-faced we were.
I can think of where to go get it.
But alas, we are wrapping up.
Yeah.
Alas.
Yeah, I had it somewhere.
We'll just have to put that as the thumbnail.
Yeah, well, thank you to everybody who has joined us on the stream. I'll be trying to do another live stream within the next month. But that one will be more about writing. So if you're a writer and you want to learn more about what I've been thinking about and learning about having to do with writing, then feel free to pop on. I will post about it and make sure everybody knows it's happening.
Yeah.
And always, if you have thoughts on other topics that you want to know about, especially from these guys here, you can shoot me a message or post in the Homegrown Filmmaker group, whatever, and I'll see if I can make that happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know, anything else you guys want to plug? Josiah and Max both have cool short films out if you guys want to go see them.
Max has a cool short film out?
I mean, I guess it's kind of old now. Premonition
I mean,
is what I was thinking of.
some of the people on here probably have heard of Saber Comp, which the live judging is happening tomorrow. If you're watching this live. Let's see. But yeah. I mean, my latest Star Wars short, which was called Premonition, is just on my channel at Max Jordan. Yeah. I have stuff in the works, but nothing out yet.
If you feel like watching a Christmas movie in February, A Match Made at Christmas is available year-round. So.
Valentine's Day is next week. If you need a, feel-good, warm, cozy, romantic movie to watch with your significant other, there you go.
Yeah.
It is family-friendly.
Yes. No blood.
Unlike Weeping Willow. Yeah.
And Josiah's.
Yeah,
New.
I just released my short film for the Saber competition that's getting judged tomorrow. So wish me luck and or vote in the public voting for my film Blood Ties.
Yeah.
There is blood. As the title suggests.
All
Maybe I
right.
can find a link for that.
Well, we will see you all later. Have a good... What do I usually say at the end of the video? Keep growing, keep learning, have fun, make movies, all that jazz. And we'll be around. Until next time. Bye.
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 Bye.